This is for follow-up 3, supervision of instruction. I wanted to give you some of the inside details on this assignment that's coming up. So as has been Goucher practice, you need to look at the directions. For this assignment, you're going to be using the Chief State School Officer CCSSO teaching standards or the Danielson framework. So that has been added in mostly because the school systems around Maryland are using the Danielson framework. Keep in mind you can use these standards or we can change them to fit for athletics if you're in a coaching position. So keep in mind that the process, it talks about 4 parts of the observation process, which are listed here. So that's the clinical supervision model, which you will be following, which is expanded on in the text. You're going to have a pre-conference. You're going to talk about what you're going to do for the observation with the teacher. You're going to make the observation using a qualitative data collection tool, which very well can be the Danielson framework model, which is posted on Canvas. Then you're going to conduct a post-observation conference to discuss the findings. So there's no need to create an additional tool. If you're in athletics, there are also tools already posted online. If you want to modify any of the tools, that's also fine, but I ask that if you do that, that you just note that you've modified the tool and give credit since you did not devise it. If you want to devise your own tool, that certainly is acceptable. For Part A, you're going to conduct a pre-observation conference. There'll be questions that will be posted and resources that you're going to talk about the lesson with the teacher or the coach, and then you're going to describe what takes place for student learning and how that will be demonstrated in the lesson, which is listed here. When you get to Part B, you're going to conduct the observation using the tool, and you are going to stay for the entire length of the classroom time. I would suggest that you do that so that you can get the full flavor of the entire lesson. You're going to look at strength areas and areas for improvement, which would be any observation. You're going to write an actual summary, and you're going to talk about 3 strengths and 1 or 2 areas for improvement as you go through the lesson. Then I'm going to be looking for commendations and recommendations using the CEI model, which is here, which we will go over in future lessons in this course, which is claim, evidence, and impact. Then when you get to Part C, you will have to think about how you will share the findings. You will conduct the post-observation conference and share the written summary and feedback that you created. And then you also describe direct assistance strategies which you could use to support this teacher. And you may not put those in the actual feedback summary because you're not going to discuss that part with the teacher. The feedback summary is just going to be an observation report. Then the last section, as has been Goucher tradition, is the reflection. So you really want to think about what is important and what took place in this process. Also of note here for Part C, don't forget to discuss how the process reflects fair and ethical supervisory practices, which you now know is either your NCAA or NIAA guidelines or the AASA document that was posted earlier in the course. For Part D, you need to consider your reflections based on your observation and your ability to observe, also your angle and the teacher point of view. So you do want to talk to the teacher and get their reaction to you presenting the summary feedback and conducting the conference. You want to think about areas, 1 or 2 areas for your continued growth, which is something for you to consider, and then how you plan to build capacity in those areas. What's most important here is also that this last piece where it says finally, which many students seem to miss, this is almost a whole additional topic. You need to talk about how you would develop a comprehensive professional growth plan for the faculty to emphasize effective instruction. So there will be some resources on how you do that, and also in Chapter 17 in the 9th edition, there are some resources, but I don't want you to miss that very key piece. It doesn't have to be pages and pages, but you will need to think through the comprehensive plan, professional planning model. Then when we look at the rubric, we're going to focus in on the pre-observation conference, and then your pre-observation form, which could be questions that are posted on Canvas. You need to include that, or you can just put it right into your paper. Notice there are no references there or content-specific pieces. Then the observation summary and the actual notes and organizer and summary are attached. So again, you can scan that in or include that at the end of your paper. But you do need to have the actual note-taking that took place, no content references listed here. When we get to Part C, you will talk about the direct assistance strategies, identified and described as you do your reflection, and then you're going to give a rationale, so you do need to cite the text here, and then also fair and ethical practices need to be addressed and included. That's for Part C. And then we get down to Part D, same idea with the reflection and this comprehensive growth plan. Please do not forget that. And then use the text and readings to support the discussion. So the reflection always is of major emphasis, 6 points maximum, so you really do want to spend a bit of time explaining and reflecting on the process and including the references, which in this case really is just the text, to support your writing. And then there is the last piece where you do want to emphasize being free of errors and following APA format as needed. And so that will be follow-up 3. If you have questions, please do not hesitate to call, text, or email.